What's up? I'm not supposed to be recording videos right now. I'm supposed to be taking a break from recording, but I had this idea going through my head and I really wanted to share it with you, so here we are. I really wanted to talk to you about this idea of reinventing yourself. Reinventing yourself, I think, is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your entire life. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. I don't have them written down. You know how I do this, I just talk. So excuse me if this one's a little bit rambly, but there's some good points. I'm gonna drop some gems. You're just gonna have to dig in there and find them. But I was really thinking, I want you to think about your life as a book. Your entire life. It's like it's already written out for you, and every action that you take in life has been determined by somebody else. Someone had an idea for something, for a character, and they put the idea on the paper. And you now have to live every single line, every single page. You know, that's your entire life, predetermined. When you start to reinvent yourself, when you start to take control of your life, and when you start to question your own beliefs, you are literally erasing the pages in the book. And this is important to realize because you changing yourself will also start to change the people around you. Some people will watch you and see what you're doing and they'll follow you. Some people will watch you changing your fate and they may be afraid to do the same, or they may not understand or respect what you're doing, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone has their own page, everyone has their own storyline, everyone is their own character. But I think you'll find that as you begin to reinvent yourself, it's actually kind of scary because you realize that you have control over everything. And I know that that sounds a little out there, but when you truly do believe that you have control over your life, that you are responsible for your own actions and the results of those actions, that's the way your life becomes. And it's overwhelming. It's extremely overwhelming because you start to realize that you got to where you are now because of your own actions, that you are responsible for the current state of your life. And if you're not happy with the current state of your life, then this can cause you to go down some deep paths. You know, you start to doubt yourself. You start to doubt your own decisions and your own viewpoints, and you really start to beat yourself up. But this is all part of the process. And this is an important part of the process. You have to push through that, you know? Once you push past that initial feeling of guilt, of shame, then you get to the fun part, because then you start to implement things. You start to change the trajectory. You start to rewrite your story. And every single day you start to realize that my new habits are pushing me towards a new future. You start to realize that you are not who you were yesterday. You're who you're becoming tomorrow. You are not your experiences. You are your habits. You are your actions. And it's kind of cool. It's really kind of cool. And it's not perfect all the time. But for anyone living a life of regret, for anyone living a life of doubt, for anyone living a life where they don't really feel in control, I want you to experience this. And I think the first step in experiencing this is really confronting yourself, confronting who you believe yourself to be, confronting why you believe certain things to be true, confronting why you hold certain values. It doesn't mean you have to change everything. It doesn't mean you have to go down and break everything down and start from scratch. It just means confront it. You just take control and you just start doing things. And the flip side of this is holding on too tight to control. You know, it's very easy to get addicted to this feeling of everything in life is my decision. But that's not true. You know, you get through that initial wave of depression and self-doubt and guilt at your current situation. You move on to the second step, which is implementing new habits and achieving new highs. And then you end up in this third stage where you take it to the extreme. You know, you realize that, oh, if I cut my calories enough, I can get down to 8% body fat and I will have the most shredded physique of all time. You realize, oh, if I work, you know, X amount of hours a day extra, I can build a business and start generating $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $100,000 a month. You know, you're only bound by your own ability. And this is where you start to push yourself into overdrive. You literally just start to do too much. And this is when you start to neglect your mental health, your physical health. You start to push away friends, family members. You stop becoming you because you're so fixated on your goals and you're so fixated on your future. And I think This is why a lot of people in like the self-improvement sphere, they kind of become unrelatable because they turn into these efficiency monsters. You know, it's like everything in their life has to be efficient, or everything in their life has to be purposeful. But I think the best moments of life are those moments where there is no purpose, you know, just going for a walk, going for a drive, just taking a nap. There's nothing efficient or productive about taking a nap in the middle of the day, you know? And I think some people would kind of slap you on the wrist for doing that, but that's what makes us human. That's what makes us people. Yeah, you adhere to your diet, but I still like ice cream. I still like burgers and fries. I still like pizza. So after you've pushed yourself to that extreme, how can you like find that nice balance, that middle ground that really makes it fun, that really makes it sustainable? Because if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying yourself, then you're not gonna keep doing it. I'm actually planning on making a video in the future about how like, here are some things that you can do to be more consistent in your life. And one of the things, one of the most important things is this concept of progressive overload. People want to lose weight, so they go on these ridiculous diets where I'm only going to eat grapefruit, you know, the grapefruit diet. I'm only going to eat grapefruit for 30 days. Do you think you can do that for the rest of your life? So instead of only eating grapefruit, why don't you just focus on eating 100 less calories every day? Then the next month you focus on, I'm going to eat 200 less calories every day. Or I'm going to burn 100 calories every day, and then I'm going to burn 200 calories every day. Like, why do you have to go so hard at the beginning? You will do so much more in life if you focus on doing less. Instead of trying to write a novel in one night, why don't you just write a word a day? Start with something so painfully easy that it almost offends you at how easy it is. Don't try to go to the gym 7 days a week. Just get out of your house and walk around the block once a day. Pretty soon you're gonna be like, walk around the block once a day, that's way too easy. I can go for a run. Okay, so then go for a run. But the idea is to just put yourself out of your current environment. Get yourself in the habit of doing something, and when the motivation strikes and you really have that feeling of, I need to push myself harder than this, that's when you start pushing yourself harder, and eventually you start to do more and more and more and more and more every day, but it's not overwhelming because you started with one small step. You know, progressive overload's important. But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about this topic. It's been going through my head lately. Just trying to find that balance in life. That's the hard part. That's the hard part. Because when you really start to realize that you can do anything, and that you can be anything, and that you can be anyone, then you want to do it all. So how do you reel yourself back in and just focus on doing one thing at a time and doing it sustainably and having fun while doing it? How do you do that? I'm still working on that, but I just wanted to share this with you. If you're in the process of reinventing yourself, or at least changing the way that you think and your belief system, know that there will be extremely difficult moments in this process. There's so many videos that I recorded and released, and I was almost embarrassed to talk about certain things, but it's important that you're able to confront your past, and you're able to process it, and you're able to put it out there so that, you know, those thoughts, those feelings, those experiences, they don't haunt you anymore. They're just things that happened. They're just videos on the internet that you can show to other people. The more that you expose your trauma, the more that you expose your weakness, and the more that you share that with other people, the easier it will be for you to have those conversations, and the easier it'll be for you to process those conversations with other people. And I mean, just be open about it. I think that's the first step. And I think that that's what I've been doing this whole time. I've been putting myself on blast, showing you the good, bad, and the ugly. Now that I've kind of stripped myself bare, I feel like I can really start to redefine who I am. In the future, if I blow up and you start seeing me on headlines as the next Elon Musk, then you know that you have no excuse. You have no excuse. Because if I've gone through what I've gone through, and I can talk about it, and then I could find ways to move past it, and I could find ways to be successful in life, you can too. Yeah. Well, that's all I really got for you today. Appreciate the time you took, and until next time.